Now it's time to make our composite, or combine the weather map with the Weatherman. The first step is to select the weather reporter and move that clip up to track 2 so that we can key it over the top of the map. Then we're going to move the map into track 1. So let's go find that graphic. I think for us it's in our weather map folder, so open that up and there it is. So let's drag and drop that onto track 1. Now in order to stretch this out, Premiere Pro is considering it a video clip and not a still graphic, so we're going to have to go grab the rate stretch tool and then stretch it out. Now it should snap to the end. Make sure that you have snap on. You can see my snap is turned on, so that's very helpful. And I'm going to go back to the selection tool. Now let's go ahead and key out this green. The first step I like to do is just get rid of as much green as possible with some type of a mask or matte. In the olden days, I used to use the garbage matte, and my favorite was the 8-point garbage matte. So if you're using, say, an older version of Premiere Pro and you don't have the new features that I'm going to show you next, go ahead and grab the garbage matte. And the garbage matte would be found in the effects panel. You can just type in garbage matte. So I'm going to, with the Weatherman selected, let's go up here to our effect controls and open up our opacity. And you can see with our opacity, we can, just make it semi-transparent. And, oh yeah, you can see the man in the weather map, but that's not what we want to do. We want to key that out. So we're going to use one of these tools. So we have the ellipse mask, we have the 4-point polygon mask, and my favorite, the free draw Bezier mask. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we're going to draw a mask around the character. So I'm going to start here in the corner and just click, and I'm just doing single clicks. So I'm click, and we want plenty of these so that we can move them around later. So you want a couple up here because my hand's going to come up there, a couple on the side. And when you get to about this point, we need to close it. So move it over, and you can see that if I put my mouse over here, I can put the pen tool right on top of that box and finish it off. And you'll see that it immediately shows that I'm going to make this transparent, and we're going to keep this stuff in the center. Now let's fine tune this mask. It'd be a lot easier though if we could see this a little bit bigger. So with your mouse over the top of this panel, hit the tilde key. Remember that was above tab, that key above tab. That makes this go full screen. This is a great example of when you might want to use this. So first I'm going to zoom out a little. I'm going to zoom to about 50%, and I'm going to move this down here so that we don't cut anything off. And then let's scrub through quickly. And as I'm moving, you'll see my hand moves there. So we don't want to cut that off. Let's move this out so that all the fingers are in the frame. Let's keep scrubbing. And you can see the shoulders getting cut off here a little. So we're going to scooch that out. And then the goal is to have as little green left without cutting off the person. So we're going to scrub through this a little bit more. And you can see that the hand comes up here and goes out of the frame. So we're going to need to grab this one and move it up there. Now you can see we've got a straight line here and really a curved old melon. So let's make some curved lines here. So for example, let's say I want to change this from a corner point to a curved point. Hold Alt on a PC or Option on a Mac and click and drag, and that converts this from a curved point or corner point to a curved point. So these are called Bezier handles, and you can play around with them until you've got the curve that you want. So any of these points can be converted from a corner point to a curved point. So practice that now. I'm going to hold Alt down, curve this. You can see I can go to the left or right. So that's the Bezier handles and working with your mask. That means I don't have to worry about any of this green out here. A lot of times when we're shooting on a green screen, we might have like an outlet here, or a sandbag or some other little piece that you don't want. And it's easier to mask it off like this than it is to key it out. Now let's get back out of this view. So I'm going to hit tilde again, and I'm going to come back here and hit fit. Now we're going to use Ultra key to get rid of the green. So let's go over here to our effects, and in the search box, type in Ultra. Ultra, there we go. And there's our effect. So we're going to drag and drop that onto the weather report, and voila. Oh, wait, we haven't set the settings for it. So over here in our effect controls, let's go ahead and collapse opacity so we can see the Ultra key down here. And we have some masking tools, and we have right here the key color. So that's the first thing that I usually do, is set my key color. So I grab the eyedropper, come over here, and I typically will grab not a highlight area, but I usually sample my colors from one of the shadow areas. So maybe down here, or I'm going to do it on the right side of the shoulder. That's pretty darn clean, but you can see there's a little bit of an issue right here. And to really see your issues well, come over here to your output option and change it from composite, which is the combination of the two images, to alpha channel. And you can see the white is what we're going to keep. That's going to stay opaque. And the black or gray area here is what's going to be keyed out. And you can see that we're not getting a good clean key right here. So let's fix that. The first thing you can do is just play around with the settings. So oftentimes you can just go to relaxed and voila. Sometimes it'll change it. Go to aggressive. Wow, that's looking good. Or custom, as soon as you start changing these things down here, you'll get custom. So what is this stuff doing? Well, we've got 4 categories here. We've got matte generation, which includes transparency, highlights, shadows, those kind of things. Let me go ahead and scooch my window down so you can see a little bit more. We've got matte cleanup, which has choke. I usually stick to these top 2, matte generation and cleanup. Spill suppression, let's just talk about that real quickly. Spill suppression is for that if you had a little bit of color that got reflected onto your character's body. So let's say my face was a little bit green along the side here, maybe my beard, or I had a white shirt and then you could see a little bit of green spill on there. That's what this spill suppression can help you with. And then color correction, if you shot it and it was kind of a bad color, your color balance, your white balance was off, you could fix that with a little color correction here, saturation, hue, and luminance. We already fixed that here with our 3-way color corrector, so we're not going to mess around with that. So let me open up matte generation and matte cleanup here and show you what happens. Look at the settings here, and then when I go to relaxed, you can see that a bunch of them changed. And if I go to aggressive, again, they changed. That's what we're looking for, is we're looking to change these until this is a really nice clean key. So if you're having trouble with the highlights, mess around with your highlights levels. And you can see I can mess around with those, changing those numbers. This is scrubbable text. Be careful. Let's say I go scrub this and at 0, it looks perfect here. Come down here though and scrub through your entire video and make sure that other parts didn't get messed up by changing that. So oftentimes I'll mess around with the highlights and shadows. Those are 2 things that I play around with in the matte generation. And then typically in the matte cleanup, I oftentimes play around with the choke and soften. And let me show you what that means. Let me go to composite here. I had a little bit of an issue right about here. So I'm going to zoom in to the hand. Let's go to about 200%. And I'll come over here. And I'm just going to hide the background for just a second. I hit the eyeball down here on the track just to hide it. You can see I'm getting a little bit of green halo around the hand. So that's where this choke and soften really can come in. So choke basically shrinks the key. So let me go really aggressive here. Ooh, that would be too much. Scrub and then let go. So that choked it in a little. And then softening, it's kind of like feathering in Photoshop. Some of us have a little bit of experience with Photoshop, so that might help you understand it. So I kind of got rid of the little bit of the halo around the hand. I also got rid of a little bit of the hand. And so you might, if you went too far, just scrub it back just a little until you're happy with the results. So let me go back to fit. Let's turn the weather map back on, and you can see we've got a nice clean key.